why we're starting Joy Revolutions. So, with that said, I want us to start the second half of our course with this. Where have you seen quiet desperation show up in your life or others' lives?
What you're asking us, right, to
Yeah.
comment?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
what comes up for me, it's not that I've not experienced it, but today I had a client who has been recognizes the patterns of her life, but hasn't been able to step out of it. And this more of a victim mentality, this like, I can't do it, I have no power, I don't know, my life is,
Yeah.
awful. And today she was just like, if any of you know, Mama Gina, she had listened to a podcast and she's like, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of not having my life. And finally she accessed her power. And we'll see what happens next week. But yeah, she was just like sick of it.
I love it.
Hmm.
That's amazing to be
Yeah.
sick of it. They were sick of living in quiet desperation. And there's so many things that you're bringing up here, Cheryl. This idea of a lack mindset, victim, playing the victim, having no agency in your life. And I can
Yeah.
relate to all of those things. I can
Mhm.
relate to doing all of those things and saying, you know what? If I was not Filipino, and if I was not brown, I wouldn't have these problems. That was bull crap. That was a bunch of bull crap. You know, others, where have you seen good Cheryl? Where have you seen quiet desperation show up in your life or others' lives?
Well, just to piggyback off of what Cheryl was saying, I think it comes from people that don't have or don't feel that they have control
Mm,
over their lives. I like the idea of agency 'cause I see it with both teachers, but I see it with children, right? And I think it's really sad when you see it with children because they actually do have very limited control over what they can change in their lives. And I think that for me that it's that mindset of how do you get to adulthood and still believe that you do have agency, that you can change things. But there's almost an element of like, how do you get through childhood, right? With
hmm
with still feeling like I'm not just at the mercy and the whims of, all
Yeah,
these big people who control my lives, then I just have to do whatever people tell me to.
I love it. I love it. Anyone relating to that? Because I'm thinking about that as well. I know there was a study done of of I think it was a kindergarten first grade class, and the the question that was posed to the class was, when it comes to doing anything that you want in life, who believes in that? Who can do anything that you want in life? And like close to 100% of the kids said, yes, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
But then in sixth grade, they asked the same class the same question. And what was it, Anna? Like 20%? It was,
Yeah, something like that, something ridiculous. I do know which one. I don't remember the details, but I remember. I know the study that you're talking about.
yeah. So we're looking at a loss of agency through I'm not going to go and crap on education, but like there is some sort of systematic thing that's
Yeah,
happening. Don't know what it is, but in going from this and in 5 years being a sixth grader, what?
yeah,
What?
yeah.
So yeah, good stuff, Anna. Perdona, anything that you wanted to add? I saw you nodding your head like
Yeah.
yes.
Well, I've had moments like this in my own life,
Okay.
at times where much younger, in relationships, being in a relationship that just isn't working, and
Hmm.
often feeling like there was no way out of it. Of course, there was. We always have choice, but
Yeah.
sometimes when you're younger, you don't realize you always have choice because you look at some of the choices that don't seem like they're possible. And so you say, oh, I only have two choices, but there's always more than two choices. Um,
Completely.
Recently, I mean, I see this in some of my family members, couple of my siblings right now, because they're in positions in their life. There are a lot of people right now who are looking at being in their 60s and they don't have
good enough
Right.
Social Security benefits.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not really sure what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
I have friends like that too.
Mm-hmm.
I never realized it, but I have friends who don't have enough credits to get Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
So they're in their 60s and they have to just, or 70, and they just have to keep on working because they have no
yeah.
benefits whatsoever.
Mm.
Um, I saw this in my son before he died. Uh, I've seen what I would, not being a victim necessarily, that part of it is a big thing of that quiet desperation though.
Mm-hmm.
But just the anxiousness that I experienced right before I signed up for this class, which is what propelled
Yeah.
me to sign up for it. It's like I have all these skills and all these tools, and I've been given such, amazing um, uh, support and appreciation and love. And what am I doing with everything I
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I need
Yeah.
to be sharing it out in the world. I wasn't given all this just like with money. I wasn't given what I had so I could just hoard it.
Yeah.
But I don't know what to do. I almost felt desperate in that what am I, I don't know
Yeah.
which direction to go in. And then I saw your email and I said, and you asked this last week, why did you sign up for my class
Mm.
when we talked?
Oh yeah.
That was why, because
Yeah.
that email just showed up at the perfect moment.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, you know what? I the universe is sending this to me
Yeah.
because I've been asking the question."
So thanks,
Mm,
Perdona. And I want to. This is a question for everyone here, and it's just a bonus question for you for y'all based on the discussion. Do you guys think that we live in a society that systematically moves us to quiet desperation?
Absolutely,
yes.
Yeah.
absolutely. There's no doubt about it.
Okay. Cheryl, I
It's
see
also
you.
kind of apropos to say that today on the day of the election, where I think there's probably a lot of anxiety.
Quiet resign, quiet
Yeah, quiet,
resignation,
yeah.
And
resignation. Yeah.
and not so quiet
And
desperation.
not so quiet. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But it's the culture, and we can say also culture of families as you're a little kid, and it's like possibilities, and then it's like
Yeah,
you slice it off. No, not that, not that. You
right.
Oh, get it, Cheryl.
So yeah,
Yep,
Completely. Completely.
absolutely.
So
I
I'm
think we
gonna
create this culture, right? Like, absolutely.
so you guys are getting an even bigger bonus question here. And it's this. And I'm including myself in this. So what are we doing to, if we're doing anything at all, to dismantle something that's been set up to get us to lose our agency, to go into places of quiet desperation?
It's the metaphor of the frog in the hot water.
Yeah, talk
You
about
know,
it.
we don't
Turning the heat up.
we don't even realize that it's happening. And when we buy into from early childhood, we can't help it because we're here in this world. We
Hmm.
have to learn to adapt, and we look around and we say, what's the deal here? How do I work this system? How do I be a part
Hmm.
of the
Mm,
system?
yeah,
How do I feel good in this system? And
yeah,
we learn, here's what they're all doing.
yeah. So let me follow up with you, Perdona. What what are the steps you're taking to dismantle that quiet desperation that's being created? And it's okay to say, I don't know.
Well, all right, since you addressed it to me,
Yeah. It's to everybody too. I'm going to ask everybody in a
okay,
second. Yeah.
yeah. Well, like I said, I'm taking this course.
Yeah, you are.
I know that for my family members, nieces, nephews, siblings,
Mhm.
uh, one of the things I've always said is, it's my job to. I was the oldest of
Mhm.
six siblings. It's my job to set an example. It was part of my purpose in
Mhm.
being the firstborn, to say, if I can do this, you can do this.
Good,
So
Perdona.
set an example,
Yeah,
show, here's what freedom looks like.
cool.
Here's what choices can look like. You make your own choices, but you could see you have choices.
Yeah,
And to do that for as many people as you can touch, whether it's 10 or a million.
yeah. Thank you, Perdona.
So,
I also want to
yeah.
be wary of time. I would love to go
Yeah,
overtime with you,
sure,
but I want to respect time as
sure.
well. Anna,
Hmm.
Cheryl, anything coming up for you?
Sure. So I think we all come at it the same issue, maybe from different portals.
Yeah.
So where I come at it for the people I work with and myself, which is ferreting out the unconscious images that I have about lack,
Oh,
limitation,
so good.
can't do it, bringing it to consciousness, um, working with the body to help bring it to consciousness, as well as to be present in life and reality. And there's a spiritual aspect of being connected to source. And so I'm bringing in this modality with the angels to part of it is, not all of it, but is to dissolve and delete and cancel all of this negativity that we carry and we believe.
How can you all not get lit up by that?
I know.
You know,
Yeah.
Anna, what's going on with you?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what everyone's saying, and I think just to kind of piggyback off of it really is just connection, right? So I think joining this class, creating a community, wanting to, as Cheryl was saying, just kind of create this integration, right? I
Yeah,
think kind of like take all these different component parts and make them whole.
yeah.
And I think that is, I don't know, I feel like we're all doing that just by, as sort of thing, just even by joining this course, right?
We totally are. If I didn't believe, if I didn't think you guys were doing it, I wouldn't ask the question. That might be like a one-on-one type of question. Exactly, exactly. So in terms of what we've been through, y'all, remember that first week. I'm gonna go by very fast, just to get to the other things. I deleted the slide, but that first week, remember, Aristotle versus Epicurus, Hedonia versus eudaimonia, and we're gonna go and look at that, Hedonia being that simple pleasure of the here and now that's fleeting versus the eudaimonia, the good diamond that's standing on our shoulders, like whispering in, this is what a good life, this is what a good life feels like. And to truly have a joy revolution starts with the intermingling of the two. You are not only living the good life, but you are also getting the rewards and the fruits of it. Every single day. It's worth it. It's worth it, right? We went into the creative act before we went on break, right? Where we were talking about this sort of creative process of inspiration, moving to like a very, very finite place when it comes to completion, and then going and reiterating again, right? That whole huge thing about we get to think about what we want when it comes to that initial spark that has us go into experimentation, throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what sticks, right? So this is the cool thing now. You get to put all the things together when it comes to your joy revolution and
Mhm.
write your declaration. And what your declaration is not only something that gives you purpose that you can take action on, but it's something that you can share with others that they can take action on. Uh, I had Tal Ben Shahar on my podcast, and we were talking about declarations. And what he said about a declaration was this: a declaration is you being so into the thing that you are going to do, and in this case, a joy revolution, that you go and move with purpose. And when you run into a wall, you don't back down and you don't stay on the ground waiting for someone to save you. You take that knapsack that you're walking with and you throw it to the other side of the wall. That's a declaration. A declaration is, I'm not quite sure how to get there, but this must happen. And I will find a way to get to the other side of the wall. And that's why this is fun to do our joy revolutions together, y'all. Because Cheryl, Perdana, Anna, Pete, if you're watching the replay, I'll give you a boost. I got your back. And sometimes doing the revolutionary work, it's lonely. And so in a declaration, we're throwing things further, right? What is the declaration? Number one, um, who are the groups that you want to serve, right? What is the creative outlet that you want to do? You want this change to happen in, right? That's the creative act. That's the TEDx talk. That's the YouTube channel, right? And also, uh, Yeah, it's the flourishing plus revolution theory, the invisible made visible, and the creativity. So this was my declaration a few years ago. I declare my joy revolution to empower individuals to transform personal joy, that's the happiness seriously, into a catalyst for meaningful social change, revolutionary theory. Through the Joy Revolution course, Creativity, I I can't read this part. I guide people in uncovering hidden opportunities. That's the change. That's the flourishing for fulfillment and channeling their joy to break down unseen barriers and drive lasting positive impact by empowering these individuals to embrace creative self-expression such as TEDx talks, podcasts, digital courses, live events, and so much more. Together, we create a global movement where creativity, happiness, and social evolution converge, empowering everyone to lead their own joy revolution. So my joy revolution is what I'm doing with you guys right now, right? Now, what does your joy revolution look like? Well, we get to think about who's the community that you're serving. What's the invisible that you're making visible in that community? What is the creative outlet that you want to have as a result of working with this community? I think I've had conversations with y'all, and some people are thinking of courses. You know, we get to hear Pete's piece where he's talking about his project when it comes to filming. That's what a joy revolution declaration is. It's putting those things together. The only way to get this wrong is to not do it. The only way to not get this wrong is to not do it. And my gosh, y'all, we're already here in our 5th week. And if you guys can't get in touch with me, if you don't want to jump on a call, I can't twist your arm to do it. But I know dang well in meeting with most of you one-on-one that I know what kind of that spark is under your ass. And I'm going to flame it, and the rest of us are going to do it as well. All right. Wait, did I say something inappropriate? The
No.
spark under your ass.
Yeah, and you're gonna flame it. Okay.
That was
good.
funny. No, I got a picture, you know what I mean? So it was
I love it. I love it. I
Uh-huh.
love how you guys are as naughty and head in the gutter as I am.
Oh God.
But so this is the dealio. We're meeting next Tuesday on this. And so when it comes to your joy revolution, I want you to post it in the underground before we get on into class, right? Once we get into class, if you have questions, of course I'm going to slow it down. And this is your first of many declarations, meaning that it's one thing to post it in a class in our underground. It's another thing for you to make that announcement and declaration over Facebook, very public, you know, to have that kind of what is it called? To that audacity to go and say, I'm going to call this because this is the issue right now. You know, I forgot how fractured our country is, by the way, until today. It sucks.
You're in Florida. How could you forget?
Yeah. I've tried to bury my ass in joy revolution work. Maybe a little bit of swiping it under the rug. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. You know, it hit me hard today. All right.
Yeah.
So again, your final did you say that, Anna?
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're still meeting Thursday, right?
We're still meeting Thursday.
It's Thursday. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
So your final project is just this. You know, this is the very beginning of your joy revolution, right? All the final project is this. What is your joy revolution? What does your joy revolution do? Why does it matter? And now what? What are the next steps? You don't need to overthink it. I've definitely had people in the previous class being like, it's not earth-shattering. No. Your joy revolution is the thing that lights you up. As you all like to say, the spark that fans the flame. That's right. Are there any questions before I move on with the rest of the lecture?
Nope.
I hope it's nice and clear for you. And also, if you go into the underground in our course stuff, you're going to see Joy Revolution AI GPT or something like that. If you're really stuck, all you have to do is click on that and say, this is what I think I want to do. And it'll spit stuff back to you in terms of here are some things that you can do, right? Or it can format it for you. This is what I think my creativity is. This is what I think the joy is. And this is what I think the community I serve is. Yeah. And unfortunately, I have programmed it to sound like me. So you're gonna have a little pest, spitting it back to you.
So Mark, before you go on, the last slide, oh, that's December 3rd. That's what I wanted to know. Okay.
Yeah, December
Got
the
it.
3rd.
All right. Mhm.
And it's like 15 minutes to present. I was thinking of showing it to you today, but maybe I'll show it to you up the road, what other people's Joy Revolution presentations have looked like. So if need be, I'll bring that to some of our upcoming classes. All right. Okay, so we've been talking about your community, what you want to do. So let's start with this. What is the change you want to see in others when it comes to your joy revolution? I know everyone has like an idea of who they want to serve. What's that change? And it's okay if we don't have an answer right now. I'm going to walk you through a couple things, but is anything coming up initially?
Well, for me, I think that part of, and this is where I need my reading glasses. So sorry. The change you want to see in others. So the change that I feel like I want to see in others is that belief that I can start with them.
Nice. Nice.
I don't know if
It-
that makes sense. Like you stop waiting to be rescued or stop waiting for somebody else to do it,
Get it, Anna. Yeah.
Yeah.
that you can start it.
Yeah.
For me, it's a movement away from fear and into personal power. From my Kabbalah teachings, it's becoming God. It's becoming like God, moving
Mm.
from fear and victimhood to understanding that the power comes from within, not from gurus or teachers or 2,000-year-old books.
Got it. Got it. Cheryl, I saw you lean in.
Right. So I agree with both of you. And there's so many things I could say, but like at the highest level, and I would say additional things, but at the highest level, it's recognizing and integrating all of the splits we have
Mhm.
into unity and truth
Get
and
it, Cheryl.
our oneness and our wholeness, so all of the images, all of this,
Get it. Yes. Yes. I love it. I love it. For me, the change, it's not, I mean, it's change, comma, seriously, ebullience, joy. So I don't know who came here late, but getting kind of fresh because I'm about to meet with my TEDx client in a different city later this week, right? And we spent multiple hours working together, working together. And I got to, like, yesterday, I got to stop and say, "Are you having fun?" And he's like, "No." And I'm like, "Then stop." And so right after that, the way he started to light up and lean into things, and he's telling these little side jokes, and I'm like, "Bro, you're gonna crush it." But there's something about that spice of life where ebullience is in there that I just love seeing that in my clients, because all of a sudden they're achieving like so many things. He wrote his damn TEDx talk when I told him not to, and now it's amazing, and he's having fun with it. It's just awesome. From here on out, what is that change in others? What is the change? All right. So this is where I start breaking things down even more. I wanted to let you know that I have this written out into a full-on chapter of a book, and I've been going through it like the past 2 weeks to get it ready for y'all. But I wanted to break down just a visual breakdown so you can see what's going on here. Eudaimonia, right? Cheryl, what's eudaimonia? Teach us.
it's it's about joy and pleasure through purpose.
Good. Purpose. That's the big one. Purpose, right? And so when we look at eudaimonia, it's broken into social well-being. You're finding purpose in the groups and communities that you're a part of, and then also in your head, you feel like you're operating with that purpose. Eudaimonia, the good demon. Hedonia Anna, what's going on? What was Hedonia? Tell us.
Was that the one? I do get them confused, but this was the one where it's just the dopamine hit, like the instant pleasure, like this is I'm happy right now, but it's not
Yes.
long term.
Yeah. So it's all things emotional, right? And sometimes that is the dopamine hit, right? Um, so we'll talk about that coming up. I want to just break this down. Let me just go to Hedonia first. Where's the Hedonia? Oh well. So when it comes to, I'm gonna go to eudaimonia first. When it comes to eudaimonia, if you know, and I think Cheryl, you've had huge training on this, right? In terms of the social psychology of things. Social psychology in its simplest form is um, the way you influence the outer world and the way the outer world influences you, right? So psychological well-being is you on the inside, right? And then social well-being is how you're interfacing with the outside world. I want you to think about the change that you want to see in others. Maybe it's a psychological change that you want to see, or maybe it's a social thing that you want to see. I'm going to start breaking that down right now for you, right? In essence, when it comes to psychological well-being, we're looking at the feeling of being accepted. And sometimes that feeling is internal. Like I told you earlier, when I would blame my race for not being accepted, that had nothing to do with the outside world. It was about me perceiving things. Personal growth, right? Do you feel like you're taking those leaps? Do you want the people you are leading the joy revolution for to feel personal growth or purpose or autonomy, like we were talking about at the very beginning? Environmental mastery is, do I feel like I'm contributing to and sorry, not that's not truly it. Environmental mastery is, in the place that I currently am, do I feel like I'm a part of it and can navigate through it? And then positive relations with others, right? So when it comes to a few of the questions, I drew up some questions down here for y'all. Okay. So here are some questions that I want you to think about, and stop me at any time, right? I want you to think about answering these questions for your joy revolution. How can you foster self-acceptance in your community? Is there a self-acceptance problem? What spaces can you create for others to feel seen, valued, and embraced as they are? You know, I don't know if you guys knew this, but I was paid to do social justice work for about 13 years. And this work, what spaces can you create for others to feel seen, valued, and embraced as they are? Do you know how many people I'm speaking to the choir. It hurts. It hurts knowing that there are people who navigate their lives completely invisible. That's not the way this game was supposed to be played, y'all.
Yeah.
And is it in the education system?
I don't know that it's just in the education system,
Mhm.
especially now with social media. The education system has completely lost control. I've always said that the education system is not realistic social interaction, and it's more like Lord of the Flies.
Mhm.
So kids are getting vilified by other kids, and teachers have even less control now because they will get sued for either even looking at a kid wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh Disciplining, forget it. I mean,
Yeah.
my son is a teacher. He got hit in the head with a chair from a 6-year-old flipping out in the classroom, and there was nothing he could do about it.
Mm.
So it's
Yeah.
nuts.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I feel your passion. And by no means is this a day where I'm going to poo-poo on things. This is not, let's look at all the things that are shitty. But there are some things that when we start evaluating and taking an audit of what's going on with the people that we serve,
Yeah.
sometimes we are going to identify the lack. And that's
Hmm.
fine, because that's where Joy Revolution can start. I want to honor anyone who has to leave at 8. You know, Anna, I'm gonna get to you in the, just watch the replay, Anna, right? Okay, so, and then as we're moving through these things here, how can you inspire those in your community to view failure as an opportunity for growth? Or what steps can you take to provide support to those who have never been encouraged to dream? A couple other questions that I had written down for us. How can you help others discover their purpose when their choices have always been limited by external forces? What resources can you provide to give people the autonomy to pursue lives aligned with their true values? This is all the psychological well-being of things. And first week we're having fun, right? Like Epicurus is wrestling with Aristotle. But then when we start breaking those things down, Diana,
Diana.
this is real stuff, y'all. And that's why I asked you, what's your joy revolution? What is the change that you're bringing to this? Because y'all are already doing this. And I just wanted to like give you props because you might not, you're like, I think I'm doing all this. Yeah, you are. If you're answering these questions, you are. Cheryl, are you tracking with me? I'm seeing like processing going on. What's going on?
Well, you know, I my sweet spot thus far has been working with individuals. Now that has
Mhm.
a limited range, and I don't work full time anymore, you know.
Okay.
And the question about the community and the people who really, I mean, so some people I work with
Mhm.
do not feel seen, but there's a another level of not being seen. I mean, whether you're the cashier at the grocery store or, like you're a service worker and, you're here for a function for me.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people hurting. And I guess, it's just a question I have for myself is, what would be my joy in
Mhm.
addressing like a wider audience or something? And I don't know. And I'm just now experimenting with a very small group of friends of doing this angelic work. And I've been thinking about, oh, what would it be like to do it in groups? So I'm
Oh,
and who knows
so
where it
good.
might go, you know?
That's so good. So you're playing in the possibilities of what could happen if we brought all these things together.
Right.
I could
Yeah.
take a stand. I can take a stand behind that. And
Yeah.
when you're ready, just let me know. I'm into
Mm.
that.
Thank you. I really appreciate that because I feel your passion, your arrows, and your experience around this, like how much it's needed. And so, um, believe me, my life hasn't been easy, but
Mhm.
I haven't been discriminated against as a minority except female, but that's 50% of the population.
That's huge. That
Right.
is huge.
Yeah, it is. And it's not the same as what others have gone through.
Yeah. And I just also wanted to
Appreciate
make,
your experience.
yeah, I think that bringing the race, playing the race card is, something that, no, you know what? That was one of the biggest things, just like you being a woman, right? Me being Asian American, Filipino is something that I had a lot of self-acceptance issues around, and comes
Well,
up
you
every now
had
and
a
then.
whole different experience from me,
Mhm.
because yeah, so you definitely have, but yeah, so I'm just really thinking about how could it be a way that feels good for me because it won't last for long if I'm like coming from a dry place and forcing myself. I mean,
Yes.
I've done things like this before
Yeah.
where it's like I go in and I think I should do something and it just doesn't last for me unless I
Yeah.
can feel my passion.
I love it. I love it. And essentially when I'm thinking about this discussion, like even if we pull one thing, self-acceptance, I could see us creating a retreat on just self-acceptance. I already see us in a storyteller circle where each of us are going around sharing our own experience with self-acceptance. Like again, this is huge, and I'm not trying to do like a 1 year course in 15 minutes. But I hope you can see this is like 4 years of college if you were to put these things together.
Oh, as much. I've been doing this particular work for 9 years now. There's no end to it.
Oh, completely. Yeah, completely. And do you love it?
I do.
You dang right you do. You dang right you do. You feel her? Do you feel her, Perdana? You can feel that she
Absolutely.
loves it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think there's potential there for you, Cheryl, to do things one way or another to reach more people at one time than
Mm,
working one on one. I really do. And I've done that and I loved it. I used to
hmm
run a weekly meeting and I went from the first meeting, one young guy showed up.
Mhm.
And by the 6 months later, we had 50 people showing up to my basement.
Wow.
We had a Kabbalah study group that I
Amazing.
was in charge of, and it was amazing. And the only reason it ended is because the Kabbalah Center hierarchy said, "Oh, we don't like what you're doing," because we would let people have free expression of what they wanted to talk about, and they wanted us to be very narrow in what we allowed people to discuss. And I said, "Yeah, I can't do that."
Mm, love it.
But yes, having 50 people show up was amazing.
I'm
So
sure it is.
yeah,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
yeah.
I love to be around people who love what they do. Just want to put that out there. So we talked about the psychological side. Let's go to the social side of eudaimonia, right? And it's this. So the social piece of eudaimonia, it's very much this idea of community. It's the idea of sense of belonging. Do I feel membership when I'm a part of a group? Do I feel like I share an emotional connection with other people? Or do we share a shared history when it comes to things? Am I able to be? You might like this one, Perdona, because I feel like this is very landmark. Am I a contribution? Am I a contribution to these things? Social acceptance. I'm just going to throw it up. Have y'all ever felt a lack of social acceptance? Completely. And I mean, we can't go into the story for each one of these things, but it's I can feel the emotions again of what it was like to not feel social acceptance. Do you feel integrated into that community? Do you feel like you're making a contribution? Do you feel social coherence? So that's the thing where it's like I can't actually say. Wait, actually, social coherence is for me the same thing as resonance, because it's like, oh, it's in coherence with it, it's in
Yeah,
resonance with it.
yeah.
And I think this is something that's super cool because I get to hang out with you guys and feel coherence, you know. And also, am I a part of the community as the community grows? You know, this is where 10 years from now, you come back to the joy revolution and you can be like, no, it's it's grown in a thing that it's not, I'm not relating to it anymore. And that's fine because our joy revolutions are meant to grow and people come and go, right? So I got a couple of questions that I came up for this, just to like light your fancy. And remember, I've got this all in the draft that I created for you. How will you ensure that everyone in your community feels like they belong? How can you uplift those who feel their contributions are undervalued or ignored? How can you support those who have been taught to hide or ignore their emotions? What practices can you introduce to encourage emotional awareness and healthy regulation in your community?
Hmm.
You know,
Those
there's
are all very deep questions.
right, right. And it also I have my bad days pretty much like every day, right? But I feel like there's this privilege that I had to take on social positive psychology, you know. But also I remember reading books like Rules for Radicals, who
Mm,
said when communities feel like they have not, there's there's no stake for them. So
Mhm.
when people are like, can you believe this community is burning down their pharmacy? Well, when people don't have a stake in anything, when they feel like they're invisible, when they feel like they've got nothing to lose, that stuff happens. They're not bad people. And the fact that people might be considered bad, you know, I'd do worse if I ever felt like I was a have-not. Anything coming up for you when it comes to the social side of things? It's it's fine.
Yeah, no, it's a lot to
It's a lot.
process and think
Yeah.
about.
And as you read through the week, I go into like a little paragraph about each one of these things, but just kind of let it wash over you
Yeah,
because we're having a great old time
yeah,
and we're creating happiness.
yeah,
Seriously.
yeah. My thing goes back to being a part of a very large group,
Mm-hmm.
which I had as a child and teenager growing up, we were on the edge of society. I didn't have any of this.
Mm-hmm.
I joined groups, a huge group, worldwide international group, and I was member of small local groups. Um, and I can tell you whether it's small or it's international, um, you can find things where all of these things are in there, and then you can find exceptions to it where although I felt all of these things in the large group I was in, some of my friends didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're dealing with large groups, you look at the culture
Yeah.
and you see where are they carving out or making exceptions about who's acceptable, who gets to contribute, and how they get to contribute, and how the subtle things that tell other people you're not as valuable as these people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's a very interesting thing that I witnessed, that I was a part of.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I stepped back from and could see all of the ways where this works for some people in every group. It works for these people, but it doesn't work for these people because they're considered fringe or
Mm-hmm.
just
Yeah.
not quite in the flow.
Completely. Completely. You know, and again, I just wanted to stress this is not the poo-poo sad part of the joy revolution. This is the part where it's like, oh my gosh, there is a social acceptance issue. And now I'm going to make the invisible visible,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's really being able to fold in all of the stuff that we talked about for the first three. By the way, whoever's like blasting me with like energy right now, I get it. I feel it. Maybe it's one of the angels hugging me right now, but I'm getting the full body chills. But yes, we have to go there sometimes, you know, because if not, it would be toxic positivity. And that's not what this course is about. It's
Yeah.
not toxic positivity. It's
No,
happiness,
and
seriously. Yeah.
yeah, and you really gotta look at, if you're a group leader, you
Mhm.
have to look at one of the things in my major when I was getting my master's. How are you leading?
Mhm.
Are you a cult of personality,
Mhm.
or are you looking at being uh, part of the group, and are you setting a certain tone where certain people are feeling left out? I mean, you have to have a lot of self-awareness
Mhm.
when you're trying to create what you're talking about, the social group.
Completely. Completely. Cool. So remember, eudaimonia is the psychosocial part of the first part of happiness or joy, sorry, flourishing, right? It's eudaimonia, which is psychosocial. And then we're going now to hedonia. So when we're talking about that hedonia, the positive emotions, satisfaction with life, right? It really is three things: happiness, satisfaction, and interest in life, you know? And uh a lot of folks who take the course are like, oh, this is the easy part. No, this is, it doesn't just because you see the word happiness doesn't make it easy. Like when you're looking at, for example, are talking about cultures, right? When we're looking at community cultures that have been doing one thing over and over and over again, and they say, well, this is the way that's always been. Sometimes going against that culture to bring happiness is a tough thing, you know?
Mhm.
but it's still necessary. If
Yeah.
and I know what's going to happen when we have our Joy Revolution, like little retreat, and we're together. I'm going to make us, not I'm going to make us, but we're going to do things that just make us laugh, just laughing together,
Awesome.
cracking up the whole time, doing things where it's, we'll go in with the story circles and we'll talk about the deep shit. But also, this is the ebullience of sharing a meal together.
Are you
Of-
planning a retreat? Because
I
that's
am
what
now. I am
I'm in. I'm
I am
in.
now. I gotta see y'all.
Mexico?
Wherever it is. Yes, it is. We're gonna go to Mexico, I guess it is. Yeah, amazing.
Might as well
Now,
go someplace fun.
well, you know what? I guess that's a declaration that I'm gonna have to make.
I
I'm
guess
gonna
so.
throw it over the wall and see if we can make it to the other side. And then no one's gonna be in Mexico. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna say, Pete Peterson, where were you? Um, but yeah, and just the power of being happy together. And I actually took this part out of this course, but there's a part of the course that I used to teach called emotional contagion. And we know it from the standpoint of depression and sadness and anger, because when one person is feeling it, a lot of people start feeling it. And I've seen these research studies done in college dorms, and they take sort of the baseline of mental health in there, and they found that some people who lived in a hall uh, that was a little bit more depressed. I forgot what the thing that they used to the methodology they used. When in a hall that was a little bit more depressed, the people who were normal baseline became more depressed. In halls where people were
Yeah,
flourishing and happy.
I believe it. Yep.
Yeah.
Tell me, Cheryl, tell me.
Well, I mean, it's everything. So it's all related. Everything from studies of if you hang around with fat people, you're going to be fat. I mean, it's the energy, the influence, the culture that is picked up even through subtle cues. You just
Mm,
you get steeped in it, and in a certain level, you get brainwashed. So why not get brainwashed for happiness, right?
you're dang right. Heck
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Heck yes. I love it. Thanks.
Well,
Um,
and I will say, my main spiritual teacher, Ajashanti, one of the things he said is, people bond over their tragedies and whatever. And you never hear somebody say, you know what happened to me when I was 10 years old?
mhm.
We went to Disneyland. It was the most wonderful thing. I had yeah, we just don't do that.
Go, Cheryl. Since I'm wearing headphones, I'm like, oh, it sounds like I'm listening to your podcast. What you're bringing, I'm so excited that you brought that up. And what was the person's name again? The
Ajashanti, A-D,
Ajashanti.
yeah, Ajashanti, yeah.
Because think about it. Think about the last 20 years. When have been the times that we've come together, like truly together, when huge shootings or tragedies happen? That's when we come together.
Mhm.
And so there's also this term that I don't think that it's made it mainstream yet, but this idea of collective effervescence. That would
Mm.
be the opposite of that,
Mhm.
right? And why aren't we talking about that? I believe that Emile Durkheim brought that up, and that person was a way long time ago. But we're not actually talking about it. Maybe the only time that I think I've seen a collective effervescence happen is around like Olympics. It's around sports. Can
Yes.
can
Yeah.
you, Cheryl,
The
get
World
people
Series was amazing.
right? Can you get people behind you in collective effervescence, Cheryl, with your joy revolution? Per Donna, with what you're doing. I tuned to Hallmark the other day to see if there was a if it's and it turns out there was a 9-part story in it.
Yeah.
Can you bring people together in collective effervescence at your viewing party?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I mean, So I've been watching love stories and Christmas, every movie I'm watching, it has to be happy and wonderful, joyful, and Christmas. I've seen every Christmas movie there is out there, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, and a very good comedian on Netflix, Tom Papa, Free Reign. It was fantastic. And he did something amazing at the end of his bit. He said he talked about a lot of stuff with kids and relationship and sending his girls off to college and like all this kind of stuff. But he ended with, I just want you to know, I love each and every one of you. Each and every one of you is so special and unique and wonderful in your own way. He did a whole spiritual thing of pointing out the divinity of everyone without using any spiritual speak whatsoever.
Hmm.
But I watched him do this and I was floored and
Mm.
I loved it. It was a fantastic thing that he did when he brought that whole audience
Yeah.
together and
Yeah.
said, I love each and every one of you. It was fantastic.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Cheryl, I'm also thinking like with the angel work that you're doing, because it feels very therapeutic, right? But can angel work bring people to that ebullience?
Well, you know what? One of the things that I do now, is work with what are commensals, and let's just think of them as the good microbes in the body.
Hmm.
Mm,
They bring, one of my intentions is to have the angels encourage the commensals to come together, work as a community to bring joy, peace, serenity. And so I worked with my friend who is so sensitive to energy. And, I wasn't telling her what I was doing. She said, but I'm getting these little laughter, and I'm feeling this. And I'm like, holy shit, this works. But yeah, so that is a part of it, the bring in the commensals that bring this happiness.
Bring in the commensals. I love
yeah,
it. I love
yeah,
it. And that, again, we're going into sides where there is the have-nots and stuff, but how can you not get excited about this stuff, y'all?
right.
This is the
I mean,
entry point.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is, a big part of the work I do out of the core energetics lineage
Mhm.
is so much body work. And one of the reasons that people love the Institute of Core Energetics and to go take the 4-year training,
Mhm.
it's this community. And there is constantly dance and moving the body and letting it go every way, and finding acceptance in that, and
Mm.
learning where we don't accept people. So can we transform that into acceptance? So this community is like you got to be there. And when people leave, it's like, I need to get back to that. It's so heart opening, and so it's endearing.
I
Oh,
never heard of
completely.
it. Can you say the name of it again?
Um, so the where I studied was the Institute of Core Energetics in New York City.
And how do you spell coronogenics?
So core, CORE,
Okay.
and then energetics,
Oh, okay.
ENERGETICS. Yeah.
Okay. Institute of Core Energetics. Oh,
Right.
okay. Got it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds amazing.
It is totally amazing.
It sounds amazing. And in New York City, huh?
Yes, it's located in New York City. They do their trainings in Litchfield, Connecticut, which is near.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
Okay, I'm gonna look that up.
You.
And hopefully the possibilities that are opening up right now. You know, the Joy Revolution has the intention of, like you saw in my declaration, going to an international level, but it starts with the five of us. And, I mean, this is not the greatest of words, but the damage that we could do if the five of us got together,
Seriously.
right? We got the core muscles coming through, Tom Papa, like we got Pete with his camera, Anna with education. Like, this is crazy. Good. Right?
Crazy good.
Crazy good.
Crazy
Crazy.
cool. Crazy cool. Crazy cool.
Crazy cool. Crazy cool. All right. Okay. So we actually did we did get to go through the 1 hour. Like
Okay.
I talked about at the beginning, Joy Revolution AI is there for you to start working on your declarations. I
Okay.
I cannot do office hours this Friday because I'm going to be with my client. However, one-on-ones, anything that you need. Also, this is the time to just call each other up and be like, dude, I want to know more about you. I need to know more about the core energetics.
Yes, I do. I would like that.
Sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I'm available.
love it. The underground is slowly growing, y'all. And a lot of folks are just signing up through the YouTube. Take the lead. Welcome people in here. Let them just engage with folks, you know? I want it to feel like you're home and somebody's knocking on the door and you open the door and you're like, dude, welcome. Welcome. It's good to have you here, you know? Or if you're Filipino, sit down and I'll fix you a plate. Like, I just
Pork
ate.
adobo.
Yeah, exactly. But I just ate. No, you're still hungry. All right. So
Oh,
let's end with this again. And this time, Cheryl, can you read it for us?
Yes. So it's the new norm.
The
A
new norm.
master in the art of living draws no sharp distinction between his work and his play, his labor and his leisure, his mind and his body, his education and his recreation. He hardly knows which is which. He simply pursues his vision of excellence through whatever he's doing and leaves others to determine whether he is working or playing. To himself, he always appears to be doing both. True.
Lawrence Purcell Jacks. I
great.
don't know if you felt this, y'all, but every time I hear this, it goes to my bone marrow. And that is happiness. Seriously.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I feel so privileged because I am finally living that. I am. Just all one big continuum. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so I guess the next order of things is how can I help my neighbor live like that? We can't
Mhm.
tell them what to do, but for them to identify their work and their play and to make no distinction. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That was fun as hell.
Very fun.
I hope y'all enjoyed that one. So,
Okay.
like I said, next Tuesday, before next Tuesday, have your
Right.
Joy Revolution declaration in. I'm going to email you tonight. I'm just going to send you the chapter. The chapter, you can just read through it. It's got questions in there,
Right.
in terms of Flourishing 2.0. And if there's anything that I can do for you, the fastest way to get to me is through the is through the heart, not the heartbeat, the underground.
Yes.
Cheryl, if you didn't message me, I wouldn't have caught it. And Anna did the same thing. So keep that in mind. Y'all, I will see you on Thursday,
Okay.
7 p.m. writing. Oh, can I tell you this too? I was invited. No, I feel like I'm bragging. Okay.
No, tell, come on.
Okay. So
You can brag a little.
yeah, so I'm gonna be out of town and I received an invitation to receive. Okay, what's cooks like the Michelin things, like the Michelin standards, and they give you like a couple stars for it. So expensive ass plate. I got invited, and I think it was a 5-star Michelin chef,
Well,
and
that's, getting
yeah,
1 star is amazing.
yeah. Okay, so whatever it was,
Yeah.
and I do have to say this: in years past, I would have found an excuse to cancel this Thursday's class or session, Creative Lab, to go and eat, go and eat whatever it is that they're going to serve. But like, we're up to big shit, and
Hmm.
I'm going to be here to boost you guys over.
So you're not going.
Mm-mm. We got we got Creative Lab at 7 p.m. I told you that that's what I was going to do. And so there's something about in doing Joy Revolutions, there's something about integrity it's just a big deal. to
It
me.
is, integrity is a very big deal.
Yeah. But I
It's
don't,
very,
I didn't want it to come out and be like, oh, look what I'm doing for you
but
guys.
that's
No.
awesome that you know, and you, but you know what? That's a lesson for all of us,
Mhm.
because when we stay in our integrity, um, and we keep our word, and I always try to impress this on my son, your name needs to be your currency, and your currency should be golden.
Mm,
And if you lie and you can't keep your word, you become worthless.
mm, mm,
So it's all you really have
mm,
is your word.
mhm, mhm,
Uh, and that's how you become impeccable.
mm. Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Agree.
yeah, Cheryl.
Um, so yes, it shows to me what your level of commitment is and dedication to this. And I have to say, that is a tough decision. I have to really think about, really, really think about.
When y'all signed up and I said, this is what I'm gonna give you, this is what I'm gonna give you. And when I go and declare that this is going to be an international movement, I'll go and eat with the 5-star Michelin chef at a different point. When you guys have your joy revolutions, when we're
Okay.
celebrating your podcast launches, whatever, you know,
Yeah, well, it's going to happen, Mark. It
I know,
is.
I know,
It-
I
yeah, for
know,
sure it is.
I know.
Um, can I just ask a clarifying question?
Yeah.
So, uh, V1 mission statement is for posted out there this week. Is that it?
Yes, before we get into class. And what you're going to
Yeah.
see is,
Class,
uh,
on Thursday,
yeah. Oh, no, no, no. What you have 1 week.
next
Yeah.
week. Okay.
Yeah.
And
So,
then,
mhm.
yeah, well, and then I see, like, I just like to do it right. Can't help myself. Um, I see that there's an assignment for the week. Is that something you want also posted?
Yes. Well, okay. The assignment, yeah, okay, there's two sorts of things, right? The assignment is just based on Flourishing 2.0, right? But the big thing is, and I ask you a lot of I wouldn't say superfluous questions, but there's always one mission critical thing to do each week. And for this week, the mission critical thing to do is declare your revolution,
Mhm.
you know?
Okay.
Yeah. And like I said, I've got your back. I I saw actually, you know what? When I was writing this, I felt the need to get it right too. I'm like, what if this is what's of that? What, what if I'm going to take out the? No, it's if you don't do it, you don't do it, you don't do it, And I wanted to this is 3 parts so you can see what's happening. The first part is the declaration. This is what I stand for. The next thing is the commitment. This is what I'm going to do. And then the thing after that is the enrollment. This is why you should jump on board and make this an us thing.
Mm.
Why others should join on board.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All
It's
right.
what, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And remember, if need be, you're gonna go and type you can go and put in the AI, and then AI Mark is gonna be like, "Hey, weren't you paying attention in class?"
Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
so
it's your
snarky.
personality.
He's
Snarky Mark.
snarky. He's snarky. I'm gonna add the stuff with the sparks under the butt and stuff like that. Like I'm gonna keep feeding this thing. You guys are amazing. I know it's 30
Oh,
minutes after, but this was
you are
I hope you
amazing
can see
too.
why this is a fun thing. This was a fun
Yeah.
one, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Okay.
you know what? Your enthusiasm is infectious. So,
Mm.
Yeah. You're helping me a lot. I can't even tell you how much
The
and
feeling is mutual, y'all.
how much it's helping
Feeling is
me.
mutual.
And I accomplished so much this last week. I mean, if we had more time, it was an amazing week for me.
Good,
Seriously.
good, good.
yay.
Save it for the retreat.
Yeah, yeah.
So
All right.
see you Thursday night.
Thursday,
Thank you.
7.
Love you all.
Bye,
Bye.
y'all. Love you too.
Good one.
Bye.
Bye.